Hi, my name is Robin Wong. I'm a photographer based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. In this video, I want to talk about the reasons why I prefer to shoot with prime lenses over zoom lenses. Let's do this. I'm sure some of you are asking, hey Robin, what's with this black theme background again? Well, this is not a video podcast series, and why am I not filming outside? It has been raining heavily the entire week, and looking at the weather forecast, the rain is not going to stop anytime soon. I do have some things I want to share with you guys, so rain or no rain, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere, I will continue to create content. Before we start, let me clarify that this is not a prime lens versus zoom lens argument. There is no point in doing that. I acknowledge the importance of both prime and zoom lenses. They each have their place, and it all comes down to the photography that you do, your own shooting style and preferences as a photographer. I am a professional photographer. I've been shooting for many years, doing events, portraits, weddings, as well as stage photography. For the photography that I do, I find that prime lenses work so much better than zoom lenses. I will share my reasons why in this video. Recently, I did a shoot for my friend Bichu, who has just launched a new song and music video, Jiwa Perkasa. I was covering the launch event, so all the photographs shown in this video were taken at that event, and they were all shot with prime lenses. I was using the EM1 Mark III with 12 f2, 17 f1.8, 45 f1.8, and 75 f1.8. Now, let's look at the photographs first, because I'm not one of those photographers who just talk and talk and talk without showing any photographs. Reason number one why I prefer to shoot with prime lenses over zoom lenses is the compact size. The prime lenses from Olympus, they are truly small and light. Why do I want to use such small lenses, you ask? Well, for two reasons. One, less strain on my fingers, on my joints, on my shoulders. When I'm shooting, usually it's shooting on longer durations, I have to hold the camera for quite some time, and I have to steady the camera for some shots, right? And having smaller lenses, it is as if I mount nothing on the camera at all. It is such a joy to use. The 12-40 and even the 40-150 Pro, it is still substantial, there's still some heft to it. You will still strain your fingers and your hand, somehow holding it for a long duration. No joke, I've been doing this for many years. In comparison to prime lenses, it is as if you're shooting with nothing at all, and it makes a difference. Reason number two, why this matters, why the lens size matters, is for me to move quickly. I need to run to different positions. Quick tip, if you are doing event photography, if you're shooting weddings and stage photography, you have to move a lot. Moving yourself to different locations will give you different possibilities in terms of composition, framing, as well as moments. It will create more dramatic variety of shots. Being able to move quickly without the lens slowing me down or having to worry about the lens knocking someone or knocking on the table or the wall or anything on the way when the lens is truly small, it is such a freedom that I just cannot describe. I have used prime lenses, I've used zoom lenses over the years, and I just prefer the freedom of such small, compact lenses. And only Micro Four Thirds system truly offers such tiny, compact and light lenses, and yet they're delivering fantastic image quality. Reason number two why I prefer to shoot with prime lenses is low light performance. Most prime lenses have bright aperture. It is usually f1.8 or even brighter. Standard zoom lenses, even the pro lenses, is usually f2.8 or f4. Comparing f2.8 and f4 to f1.8, there's about 2 stops or more of light gathering capabilities. Say that if I'm shooting with the 12-40 f2.8 Pro in a low light environment, I need to use ISO 6400. I can shoot with an f1.8 prime lens and get away with ISO 3200 or maybe ISO 2000. That is 1 stop or even 2 stops of advantage. And we all know that Micro Four Thirds is not the best when it comes to low light performance and high ISO noise control. So being able to get away with much lower ISO numbers, it really helps. And I rarely have to go beyond ISO 6400, only in some very rare cases. Most of the time I shoot with ISO 3200 or 1600 and my images come out really clean. And the ISO noise, yes, there's still high ISO noise, but they are manageable. If I were to use, say, f2.8 zoom lenses or f4, I may need to use ISO 6400 or beyond, say ISO 12800, and you may not like the results that you see from these images. So being able to use much lower ISO number by using prime lenses, to me, that's a huge benefit. Reason number 3 why I shoot prime lenses is to achieve shallow depth of field. Now, before some of these full frame supporters come and say, but we can render blurrier background with full frame cameras. Yeah, I agree with you. If that background blur is your fetish, if you achieve some kind of weird satisfaction looking at all this blur, and if you want as much blur as you can, if your definition of a good photograph is totally blur background, then go for full frame. I'm not going to stop you. But for me, I'm shooting with Micro Four Thirds. Rendering shallow depth of field is just one of my photography tools, and I believe that Micro Four Thirds is sufficient to get the job done. How do I achieve the background blur? By using prime lenses. We all know that the f1.8 bright aperture will render shallow depth of field in comparison to f2.8 or f4. As great as the zoom lenses are, the 1240 f2.8 Pro or the 40-150 f2.8 Pro, you can't deny that the 45 f1.8 prime lens as well as the 75 f1.8 prime lens will render blurrier background. And it really helps because in certain situations where I have no control over the background, I'm shooting an event, everything happens so fast, the quickest way to isolate my subject to make my main subject stand out is to use shallow depth of field. In order to do that, I just shoot wide open using the 45 or 75 at f1.8, and I can just blur the background and my subject immediately stands out. I can isolate my subjects effectively, and to do that, you can't achieve it with the zoom lenses, you need prime lenses. Reason number 4 why I love shooting with prime lenses is low light autofocus. This is a point that not many people talk about. I'm talking about extreme low light where the light level is really dim. If you use prime lenses over zoom lenses, the prime lenses will have advantage. It is very simple. For autofocus to work, you need some contrast and as much light as possible. The prime lenses, say the f1.8 or f1.2 prime lenses, they can open much larger, allowing more light to come in, and allows the camera to focus much more efficiently. If you have a zoom lens, say f2.8 or f4, you don't have as much light as the prime lens, and it is a matter of physics. The more data you give the camera to process, the more effective it works especially when it comes to autofocus. I'm talking about really, really dark situation. If it is a normal situation, if it's just not that dark, like an indoor shooting, zoom lenses can actually outperform prime lenses. If you compare the pro lenses from Olympus, say the 1240, 40-150 Pro, these lenses have super fast autofocus. They are perhaps slightly faster than prime lenses if it's just normal light level. But when the light level drops, when it's really, really dark, that's when you see the prime lenses have the advantage. And I've been doing some low light shooting recently. Yes, people say, oh, but micro four thirds is not good for low light. Whatever. My clients don't complain about my images, so I keep delivering them. And you know what? I really appreciate that I'm using prime lenses because I can still focus effectively. And don't take my word for it. If you have both prime lens and zoom lens, go to your room, turn off the light, and see which one focuses faster. And finally, reason number 5, why I shoot with prime lenses versus zoom lenses. I think zoom lenses have more complicated optical design, and because of that, the images they produce, they look flatter somehow. It is not necessarily a bad thing. A flat image can be attractive as well. But prime lenses, they have more simplistic optical design. The images they render, they just look more realistic, they look more natural, and they just look more pleasing, more true to life. There is this pop to the images that it's very hard for me to describe or explain. You just have to look at the images, how these prime lenses render the images. They are just so alive. And I especially love how Olympus 45 f1.8 and 75 f1.8 lenses, how they render these images. Everything just looks so beautiful. I could never achieve them with the 12-40 f2.8 Pro or the 40-150 f2.8 Pro. There's just some characteristics to these images that make them look so attractive. There's just something organic, something so beautiful about them. It looks almost three-dimensional. That's all the reasons I have to share about why I prefer to shoot with prime lenses and how they work better and more effectively for my shooting workflow. I acknowledge the importance of zoom lenses, say in a situation where you cannot change lens and you're stuck with one lens, then maybe a wide zoom range lens like the 12-100 f4 Pro will be a good solution. You have wide angle 12mm and you can zoom all the way to 100mm telephoto N, and you can do almost everything with just one lens. I also acknowledge that sometimes it is a lot quicker to work with zoom lenses. You don't have to change lens, but for me, in a lot of my shooting's environment, I can use my prime lens no problem. But having said all that, I also brought along the Olympus 12-40 f2.8 Pro in my camera bag just in case. You know, you never know, right? Sometimes you're just stuck at one spot, you can't move, and you need the zoom lens. Anyways, let me know what are your thoughts. Do you shoot primarily with zoom lens or prime lens? Do you prefer prime lens like myself? Share your experience. Maybe someone else can learn from you. I hope you have found my sharing beneficial. I hope you've enjoyed looking at my photographs. If you do, please consider buying me a cup of coffee, or you can contribute directly to my PayPal. Links in the description below on how I can do that. Any small contribution goes a long way. It will definitely help me to continue making new content and share them right here. Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, comment, and share. And I'll definitely see you again in the next one. Until then, please go out and take more photographs. Bye-bye.